morning. It's McCollum on business. Back here on a Tuesday after the move that we just had. And not everything is perfect, a la the brightness of the top of my forehead right now. We'll get that all dialed in as, of course, the day goes along here, as well as we are rocking and rolling and what is happening out there. We're testing everything for the first time here at McCollum on Business. Live, of course, as well. So glad you are joining us here. Of course, I'm Stephen McCollum, and for the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to get you updated on what's happening around the business world. Lots to talk about since we last talked here on Thursday. As obviously, battle has happened. A lot of stuff has happened over there in Iran, and it's affecting the oil markets, the stock market in general. And let's get into it with that Market Watch. And futures are way down here today, folks. Obviously, stock market does not open up until about 7:30 Phoenix time. But right now, the Dow Jones futures are down that 921 points as we're looking at it right now. Of course, the S&P 500 is down 123 points right now today as well. These are all the future numbers. The NASDAQ futures are down 550 points here on this Tuesday. And then you see the Russell 2K also down 67 points as well. As you just hear my voice kind of go, everything's way down. Even Bitcoin trading at 67,113 here on this Tuesday. So it's no surprise here what's causing this. Yeah, oil surges here today on top of it surging over the weekend and yesterday as well. And it's all because of the fears of this Iran conflict, that it could drag on for a long period of time. That is what is affecting the markets here today as well. So it's just something we're going to be dealing with here over the next, well, according to the president, a few weeks here coming up as well. Stocks that we are paying attention to today here on this Tuesday in pre-market trading. First one up is Target. Yes, you know them, the retailer out there. Well, they're actually up in pre-market trading about 3% here today. Better than expected earnings they announced for their fourth quarter. Target had earned an adjusted $2.44 per share. Blew away the $2.16 per share that the analysts were expecting on that side of things. The revenue did come in just below consensus. It was at $30.45 billion, but up 3% here in pre-market trading. Of course, we're talking about Target here today. And then there's Best Buy out there, another retailer we're going to talk about. You know, these go from, the big box retailer to the electronics retailer out there. Also in pre-market trading, up today, but up 9% as we're looking at them. Best Buy posted adjusting per share earnings. It was $2.61 per share in their fourth quarter. The expectation was only $2.47 per share for them. Revenue was $13.81 billion. It did fall short just a little bit there of the estimated amount of $13.88 billion. So we have two large retailers out there hitting and blowing away their earnings per share, but just missing on the retail side with their announcements here on Monday as well. Then we're going to look at On Holding as well. Not a retailer per se, but they are a Swiss sneaker company, right? They make sneakers out there. And you can see by your screen there in front of you, the gray is the pre-market trading here today. What you see on the top there, the plus 0.60, that was how they finished yesterday's or the last market's trading day. Then you see the pre-market there as well. But On Holding is down 10% here in pre-market trading. Their 2026 guidance, well, investors not impressed with that at all. On Holding expected net sales to grow by at least 23% in constant currencies, which I know gets confusing because they deal in Swiss francs out there. Now, basically, all of this implies a sales of at least 3.44 billion Swiss francs for On Holdings. Well, the consensus estimate was 3.7 billion francs for that level. So their guidance ahead is short here of the expected guidance here for On Holdings here for this quarter, of course, coming up as well. But there's some good news for On Holdings. The company reported record sales and improved the profitability for 2025. Its fourth quarter net sales did top expectations for On Holdings, the Swiss shoemaker out there. But still 10% down here in pre-market trading here on this Tuesday. Of course, the market opens up at 7:30 here coming up. When we come back and look at the market and the pre-market stuff, we're going to look at Archer Aviation. You know, they're the electric vertical takeoff maker of those planes, I guess we could say, right? Landing aircraft. We're going to look at their stock. We're going to look at a company called Plug Power. They're a hydrogen and fuel cells manufacturer out there. And then Tidewater. They provide offshore service vessels to the energy industry, all making waves here in pre-market, so we will get into that coming up as well. But obviously, with the Iran story here, with all the conflict over there, well, the big story coming out of that is, well, oil prices have surged again on Monday. Of course, President Donald Trump yesterday did signal that the conflict between the U.S., Israel, and Iran, well, it could potentially be drawn out for longer than just a few weeks, which was the initial time frame he had talked about. Obviously, this is raising concerns that the global energy market is going to continue to face disruptions, as well as a lot of uncertainty in that market as a whole because of this skirmish over there in the Middle East. U.S. crude sales yesterday on Monday, they soared more than 7%. Brent, which is the international oil benchmark, the Brent is, it surged 9% on Monday. For U.S. crude oil, the move pushed prices higher by about $6 per barrel. Also, and if you saw, I saw posts everywhere yesterday of gas prices shooting up 30, 40 cents per gallon just yesterday alone. A lot of people posting that type of stuff. But even before the escalation of the stuff over there in the Middle East, oil prices had already risen 17% this year, all because of the ramped up rhetoric against the Iranian regime. So 17% up just with the rhetoric. Now another 9%, depending on what you're looking at, after the festivities have begun over there. The Trump administration has also ratcheted up sanctions on Iran in recent months. Prices have already started rising at gas pumps nationwide. Like I said, go on your social media and you see everybody posting about that. But according to Gas Buddy, let's get some actual numbers here. Gas Buddy does track gas prices out there. The national average has risen 5 cents since Sunday. It's now at $2.99 per gallon. Gas Buddy's website, if you go on their website, it shows you the national average, where you can find cheap gas, etc. out there. But they say they do think that it'll go above the national average, will go above $3 per gallon overnight and into this morning as well, because the pricing that we saw yesterday here by barrels is just going to go into, of course, the gas stations as well. Retail gas prices move about 2.5 cents for every $1 move in the price of crude oil. So even higher prices could be on the horizon if you go by just what it went up. Yes, $6 per gallon up yesterday, barrel up yesterday by itself. So that tells you we're going to get more price increases coming as well, which obviously is going to affect a lot of people out there, as everybody's been grappling with the high cost of living for those last few years all around. So why is there happening? Because Iran's oil production is only less than 5% of global output. Most of that gas also goes to China, and all because of those U.S. sanctions out there. But the problem is that Iran is right there and has a major influence over the Strait of Hormuz. That's a big passageway for more than 20% of the world's daily oil demand. Getting out into the world. So obviously a closure or restriction in that strait, well, that could quickly rock the global oil market. It could be among the worst case scenarios for the oil market if that does get shut down by Iran. That whole area, and tankers are not able to get through there. So much so that traffic in the key passageway the Strait of Hormuz, well, it's already largely come to a halt because container and tanker ship companies, they're weary of getting caught up in the conflict and having ships sunk or taken over, for instance. Just for instance, on Saturday and Sunday alone, at least 6 of the leading cargo shipping companies said they were halting or even diverting ships that were originally set to sail through that strait as well. So that's the bigger threat here with this is the strait gets shut down, 20% of oil does not get through there for global consumption. And that's a huge amount. That's what's going to mainly affect prices here coming up as well with those question marks. Airlines are being affected. Every major airline, of course, in that area, whether it be a U.S. airline operating over there or Qatar Airways, for instance, all major issues there with all the planes grounded with all the missiles flying around. And so another industry to look at besides oil is just strictly the airline industry, as well as those are big business areas here with what's happening there in the Middle East. And follow up here is when we left you last week, we knew that Netflix and had allowed Warner Brothers Discovery to, have a 7-day window to talk to, of course, Paramount Plus on getting a deal done with Paramount Plus for Warner Brothers. Well, then over the weekend, Netflix did drop its bid officially to buy Warner Brothers. The studio announced Paramount's latest bid to buy the entire company was superior. Don't forget, Netflix was only buying a partial side of the company. The rest was going to be spun off as well. Paramount's revised offer did raise the value of Warner Brothers Discovery to $31 per share. So the valuation, the original bid amount, after the hostile takeover was $108 billion. Well, now at $31 per share, the company's valuation there, Warner Brothers Discovery, is now at $111 billion. Paramount would additionally pay that $2.8 billion termination fee that would go to Netflix because Warner Brothers Discovery did back out of that deal and switch over, of course, to Paramount Plus. The statement from Warner Brothers Discovery was this, quote, Warner Brothers Discovery, Inc. today announced that its board of directors, following consultation with its independent financial and legal advisors, it's determined that the previously disclosed proposal from Paramount Skydance Corporation constitutes a company's superior proposal as defined in Warner Brothers Discovery's merger with agreement with Netflix. That was all how they phrased it. They have to get all the legal wording out there. But Netflix drops out of that bidding now, and Warner Brothers and Paramount out there. And we did get an update on Monday just on kind of what the merger looks like. It's not going to be all roses in terms of regulatory control here, getting through the regulatory process. It is going to be a better process, I do believe, than Netflix would have had. But we did find out yesterday, Paramount Plus and HBO Max, they're going to be combined into one streaming service. Of course, if they get through the regulation process here, and the regulators do approve this Paramount Skydance acquisition of the Warner Brothers Discovery. That combined service alone will have about 200 million subscribers, and that's going off of existing subscriber totals. Paramount executives didn't offer any details on Monday on how the company may price that combined service, or even what it'll be called, but executives for Paramount Plus, they did say they would not disrupt the HBO brand. Paramount also touted the strength of its sports offering on a combined service. So what's going to happen now? TNT Sports, CBS Sports are going to combine as well. Paramount executives said they haven't heard anything from regulators to signal that the breadth of their sports offerings, which is amounts here, right, coming up. So March Madness, NFL, of course, is what CBS has. Major League Baseball, NHL, NASCAR there on TNT for about, 5 races here coming up. The French Open, the Masters on CBS, college football, and all the other large entities that TNT and CBS do have. But they didn't get any simulation here that this purchase would trigger any antitrust concerns moving forward. So in terms of movies, they're also saving the movie industry as well with this move with, of course, Warner Brothers Discovery and Paramount Plus coming up also. And then finally, I do a lot of railing on this company. They're my insurance company for most of my stuff. I have moved to other things here recently as well, as their policies are changing out there. But they do some good. We have to announce it here as well. State Farm did announce last week that it's going to pay the largest dividend in the company history. That's to auto loan customers specifically. So they're going to pay out over $5 billion in cash back to the consumers out there for State Farm. State Farm Mutual Automobile Insurance Company, that's known as State Farm Mutual, their auto version, folks, said it will make a one-time distribution this summer to customers across over 49 million vehicles that are covered by State Farm mutual auto policies. The company's dividend payments are expected to average $100 by vehicle. It's going to vary based off of the policyholder's state of residence, as well as the premiums that were paid out as well. This announcement noted that a downward trend in auto repair costs, as well as the frequency of collisions in 2025, that's what's allowing State Farm to lower auto rates in 40 states, on top of this dividend amount coming out. Auto insurance rate reductions, well, they're averaging 10%. State Farm Mutual did note that the total amount of savings on premiums for customers has totaled $4.6 billion as well. So maybe you're getting a little bit of a break. I don't know. I try to find out what states on that 40 we're seeing premium deductions. I know I'm not seeing them. So I don't know if Arizona is a part of that amount there with 40, of course, states that we're talking about here. Is Arizona not one of them? Questions galore, but going to get at least a dividend here coming up, according to State Farm out there. And when we come back here at McCollum on Business Tuesday edition, yeah, we're back, and let's get into some local stories out there. We have an update on that BNSF Railway out there at Whitman, among some other things coming your way. And if you're a big fan of Ted's Hot Dogs over there in Tempe, maybe you don't live in Tempe anymore. Maybe you live in another East Valley city. You might have a Ted's coming closer to you as well. I got that story for you as well. Come on back. McCollum on Business, Tuesday edition. And we're back here, McCollum on Business, back at our new temporary studios here. Folks, it took longer for us to put together, so we ended up taking a Monday off as well. And it's just because of some, sound things we wanted to install to improve the sound. Others, hopefully I'm sounding good to you. Now, a lot of that sound could just be, I also got sick over the weekend. The kids passed along their sickness to me, so I'm just a little stuffy here as well going into the show today coming up here. But you see the new background behind me. Of course, we got some stuff here for McCollum on Business, but that's going to be my background for the main event coming up here from 8 to 10 here live at Robat TV. Of course, as soon as we're done here for the McCollum on Business, we put this up on demand. Not just YouTube for our production page. TME Media AZ is what you can search for our production page here for what we do here. And then, of course, this will go up on demand there as well as Robat TV as well. Then the main event will get started. As soon as the main event gets done live, we put that up on demand. YouTube page, free podcast system at TME Sports Show, or just search the main event with Steven on your favorite podcast system. It comes up. Pit Stop, because we weren't able to get shows in yesterday, we're going to do one show on the Pit Stop coming up on Wednesday as well. So we'll do a combined show like we did the first couple weeks. Look back and look ahead to Phoenix this weekend as IndyCar comes in on Saturday as well with the O'Reilly Series, and then the Cup Boys gets underway. on Sunday as well here in Phoenix this weekend. So look for that on Wednesday afternoon, of course. And then you saw the Real Matrix there. New episode came out on Friday, both here, Robot TV at 10 a.m., then on the free podcast system at noon as well. And then, of course, on Rumble is where you can find that show as well. On our production page there, TME Media is there, as where you can find it on Rumble as well. And folks, if you want to watch it, there you go for you. And let's not delay any longer. Let's get right back into the Market Watch. Of course, this is all pre-market trading as the market is opening right now as we are talking about it. Everything is a little bit delayed on our sites that we use, but everything is way down today, and you expect it to open way down as well. Right now, we're at 840 points down for the Dow Jones here on the futures. S&P 500 is down 97 points as well today. NASDAQ futures are down 525 points. Then you see the Russell 2K down 66 points for that index as well. Bitcoin, well, it is down also big today, 67,286. Bond yields as well. So surging oil is what's happening in the market today. We had that story to begin the show. Bond yields also surging today as well. People are taking their money at the uncertainty of the market, the uncertainty of what's happening in the Middle East. People are taking their money and putting it into those bond yields as well here as the market is opening. And I can tell you, Dow Jones right now opening at 902 points down for it. S&P 500 down 1.5% and NASDAQ down 1.8% as well. So right now, if we're looking at oil, Brent crude oil, which is the international benchmark, well, it's up $83 a barrel. That's 7% up today as well, on top of that 6% spike that it had yesterday. So another 7% up here this morning for Brent crude oil out there. WTI crude, it's up 7% to just above $76 a barrel. Again, 6% yesterday as well, 7% today. Here today, oil prices are spiking. That's 13% for oil prices here in the last 2 days on top of it out there as well, with the Iran situation continuing to spike out there. Stocks we're paying attention to right now, Archer Aviation. They're the electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft company. Well, they are down 4.5% in pre-market trading as the market's just opening. Archer is calling for an adjusted loss before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization, the EBITDA there. They're ranging from $160 to $180 million in the first quarter. So a loss of $160 to $180 million. That's wider than the estimate loss that was expected. The estimated loss was $112.1 million for them. Plug Power, they develop hydrogen and fuel cells. Well, they're up 10% in pre-market trading here. Plug Power is. They reported strong sales in their fourth quarter. Plug Power posted an adjusted loss of 6 cents per share, better than the 10 cents per share loss that was expected. Their revenue came in at $225 million. That was higher than the $218 million expected. They're up 10% in pre-market trading as the market is opening right now. And then Tidewater. They provide offshore service vessel to the energy industry. Well, they're up 1.3% in pre-market trading going into the market here as well. They raised their guidance for the full year. They're calling for revenue to range from $1.43 billion to $1.48 billion. That does account for its acquisition of Wilson Sons Ultra Tug Offshore Company. So that's up from the previous range of $1.32 to $1.37 billion. Though that does beat this outlook does beat the consensus call of $1.36 billion as well. So 1.3% up, I should say, for Tidewater here in pre-market trading. Is markets open now, and folks, it's a big drop here as well, as we are 900 points down here for the Dow as we go into the open market. So 905 for the Dow. S&P's down 123 right now. NASDAQ's down 477. Russell 2K, interesting enough, is up 23 points for it here as we talk about this with the market opening right now as well. Geez, some local stories we need, and that, folks, it's going to be like this for a little bit, with oil prices making that big spike, and people fleeing to the bond market as well. Hey, Arizona's strong global ties. Well, that's good news here for Arizona at least, and it also fueled record-breaking trade and international investment in the year of 2025. So basically, Arizona attracted 55 foreign direct investment projects, which totaled $107 billion dollars, and more than 25,000 projected new jobs out there as well. This is all according to FDI Markets. They did some big survey here on this. If you want to go a little bit farther back from 2020 to 25, well, Arizona led all states as the number one destination for international investment. More than $195 billion was announced in that time frame alone. Exports by Arizona companies, well, they surged in 2025. They went from 32.4 in 2024 to $44.4 billion dollars. That's a 37% increase. Second fastest growth rate in the entire U.S. U.S. exports grew by 5.7% if you want to do a comparison there. Arizona ranked among the top U.S. exporters in multiple advanced industries. For instance, first in metal ores. That was $2.7 billion exported. That was up 19.9%. Third for computer equipment. That was exported at $9 billion. That was up 205%. We were fifth here in Arizona for semiconductor and other electronic components. $6.3 billion exported. That was up 84% just last year. Eighth in navigational, measuring, electromechanical, and control instruments. That was $2.4 billion exported, which equates to a 14% increase last year as well. Aerospace parts and products, so we were ranked 10th here for those exports. $5.6 billion exported, which was up 4.3% for that category as well. The top export countries in 2025, well, Mexico was number one, $14.6 billion exported to Mexico. Taiwan was number two, 4.5 billion. Canada was number three at 2.8 billion. The Netherlands was 2.4 billion, and then Germany 1.6 billion dollars as well. Taiwan did surpass Canada and China to become Arizona's second largest trading partner. More than $21.2 billion in total trade. Arizona imported $57.4 billion worth of goods in 2025. Now, by the way, that was a 36% increase on our imports as well. Our top import countries in 2025, well, Taiwan was number one, $16.7 billion. Mexico was number two there at $14 billion. Then you got China at $2.8 billion, Malaysia, $2.8 billion, and then Canada, $2.8 billion as well for the import side. So big money moving around Arizona there with those figures, as we can tell as well. And update here on that BNSF railway company, if I could say railway properly this morning. Well, officially, BNSF has announced they're starting work on that site up there in Whitman, even though they don't have an actual sign-off yet completely. That's where it's planning to build that $3.2 billion logistics park and intermodal facility. The company, of course, has not received approvals to develop the whole project. They're just starting grading work on about 350 acres out there. So 350 acres of the total 4,200 acre site is being graded as of now. The unofficial groundbreaking comes a couple months after the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors did deny BNSF's fifth request for a continuance on a measure related to the project site. The board instead denied the measure to change a land use designation for about 800-acre portion of that site up there. So that put the ball back in BNSF's court to revamp its plan in order to better align with the county's overall comprehensive plan for that area up there outside of Whitman there. But so they're still working on getting it up there, but they're digging in and getting started on it. And have you ever been to Ted's Hot Dogs over there? It's a staple there on Broadway Road over there in Tempe. Been there since I was a kid. We used to make trips there on the weekends to grab some lunch, and over in Tempe, and it's known for its classic American fare, of course, hot dogs and other things. But they are expanding in the valley for the first time since the Arizona location of the New York chain opened more than 40 years ago. This new location of Ted's, pay attention here. Yeah, it's going to be in Chandler coming up here. 2700 East Germain Road. It's expected to open in May as well. This new location is going to be about 3,500 square feet. It was designed to look like the famous Ted's location up there in Buffalo, New York. That opened back in 1927 under the Peace Bridge. This new location will feature red, white, and yellow tiles, just like the original location. The walls will have funky wood paneling, is what they're calling it. And that's consistent with the brand's history as well. It's going to have a classic look. The new location has several features, though, that will be new to Ted's brands. According to the company, they're going to have their first drive through location. It was designed to still have a Ted's experience. It's going to have a dedicated open fire grill just for the drive through and a window so guests and cars can see their meals actually being prepared. The new store has a large dining room. It's going to have a covered patio and a small park area that they say is supposed to be very family friendly as well. There will also be dedicated window on the outside of the building for online orders. Then, of course, the most important part of Ted's Hot Dogs, the ice cream out there as well. The kitchen was designed with employees in mind for this Chandler location. A lot of windows, natural light in almost every space of the restaurant. The kitchen will also include a large block table in the middle of it. That'll be used for several of the new items that Chandler's Ted's will debut. Some of those new items, a steak sandwich, and of course, breakfast offerings as well. With two strongholds locations in New York and, of course, now here in Arizona. Well, they say they're looking to grow the brand to other parts of the U.S. They specifically name Florida, Nashville, and Texas as future location sites for Ted's Hot Dogs. And if you haven't been to Ted's Hot Dogs, I'm not a hot dog guy at all. Fantastic. They got burgers and brats and things like that. So if you're not a hot dog fan, which I am not, still mouth-watering food there, folks, over there at Ted's. A new location coming up in Chandler as well. And finally, some more business coming as well to the East Valley, a $400 million plastics upcycling facility that's going to create more than 100 jobs, hundreds of construction positions, and then more than $1 billion in projected economic impact. Well, it's set to open this year. I guess it's not East Valley. I guess it's South Valley or almost down in Tucson. Yeah, down in Eloy coming up here, folks. Big investment in Eloy coming our way. The project will position the city as Freepoint Ecosystems Southwest Hub is what they're calling it. It's all for advanced recycling methods. This company is based out of Connecticut. It develops large-scale advanced recycling plants that turn waste plastic into an oil-like feedstock for petrochemical manufacturers. The economic impact analysis presented to the city of Eloy, well, it projects more than $1 billion in total regional output, more than $19 million in combined state, county, and local tax revenues over 10 years. It was unveiled by the Arizona Commerce Authority back in 2023, this project was. But it is expected to create, like I said, about 100 full-time circular economy jobs once it's up and operating. About 250 jobs during the build-out on the construction side of it as well. Freepoint and the state officials have said commercial operations are expected to begin in the first half year of 2026. The Freepoint executives did say this Eloy plant is going to complement a smaller facility that's over near Columbus, Ohio. As well, it's going to be a feeder to it, I guess you could say, overflow to it. Tells you how much money is in recycling here, of course, as we are dealing with this out there. And folks, it has not been a good day for the stock market out there. I don't know if the graph will be updated, but Kobe, can we throw up the graph here as we wrap up the show here as well? Yeah, that's markets there, folks. That is not incorrect. Yeah, Dow Jones down 1,011 points right now. S&P 500 is down 126. Nasdaq's down 459. Russell 2K. Actually, the Russell 2K one is incorrect. I'm showing Let's see here. Actually, you know what? I apologize. The graph on the screen is correct. The one on my computer here is not updated. It is down. I thought it was weird that it would be up today. Yeah, 85 points down for the Russell 2K as well today. And then, of course, Bitcoin, 66,000 as where it is as well. So don't look at your 401ks today. It's going to be a rough one. We'll have to see if we get any rebound coming up tomorrow for that as well. So join me tomorrow, of course, Wednesday's edition, as well as McCollum on Business. We'll get you updated on what's happening around the business world. Appreciate your patience here the last couple show days, Friday and Monday. But we're back, baby. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody. Have a great afternoon. And the main event coming up next.